Shit, we're not even a fortnight into this decade and everything's gone to shit.
Is that how you feel about everything?
Yeah, so far, yeah.
So, it's been about 2 weeks since we talked. Anything particular happen for you guys?
I played more video games.
Yeah, me and Sam are still on our break. And I think, do you have one more week as well?
Yes, this next week, or this upcoming week, will be my last one.
Yeah. Same for me. Everything starts the week of the 20th. Meanwhile, Simon, you've started going back to school.
That's right.
Now, the UCs get a significantly shorter winter break than the Cal States. So Simon
No,
is
we just go
already
on
back.
break 1 week earlier, I think.
Didn't you go back? Like me and Sam have another whole week, so you get out 1 week earlier, but you go back 2 weeks earlier.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys have a shorter winter break than us, so you're already back for classes.
Yes.
So, Simon, what classes are you taking this quarter?
This quarter, I am taking French 5, Japanese 5, and Religion of Japan.
Oh yeah, you have very few classes because language classes are worth like 100 units apiece.
Yeah, because that's how it works, obviously.
I mean, they're tough classes, so it all works out.
Yeah, it gives me an excuse to be like, oh, I've like too many units, so I can just have 3 classes and then spend most of my afternoons playing video games.
Perfect. So, we all heard how well your last quarter went, especially with taking Japanese 4. So, what are your expectations for this upcoming quarter?
I'm actually feeling a little bit better.
That's good to hear.
I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm just gonna like learn from my previous mistakes and try and do better this time.
So, have you decided to follow my wisdom and to get a planner?
Oof, I don't have the budget for that.
I can't afford a $2 notebook from Amazon.
Yeah, I can't afford to use the notebook that comes installed on my phone. It's just too much. It costs too much to use it.
I don't like the planner on the phone. I find it awkward to use.
Yeah, and I also can't use like Google Docs or something because that'd be too handy or something.
It would be too useful. You can't deal with
I
that.
I can't deal with something so useful. It has to be hard.
Well, best of luck to you, Simon.
Yeah, yeah is the right answer. I'm excited for Religion of Japan because it actually seems interesting compared to my literature class I had to do before. I do have like mandatory readings I have to do, but hopefully it's not dog shit like my literature class. I haven't done any of the readings yet. Well, I have to like have them read by Tuesday, so like I'll just read them
Falling
tomorrow.
behind straight from the start.
I just have to have like 4 passages read by Tuesday.
And it's already Sunday.
Yeah, I can read them in the morning because I don't go to school until like 11 on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Fair enough.
Hey, I feel like we probably talked about this before, but how many units is considered a full load for you?
12.
12?
Yeah, 12, you're considered a full-time student here.
And how many would you need to do a semester to graduate in like 4 years?
I think they make you do like 100 and some odd units. It's like a weird. No, it's like 90. No, how many units? You need 180 units to graduate. So divided by that's 3 per year times 3 is 12. So you need to do 15 a quarter to graduate on time. And I'm already not going to do that, and that's fine because I have a plan.
As long as you have a plan.
Basically, the plan is that I'm going to do study abroad as a 5th year
Oh, okay.
and graduate.
So, over the past week, as I mentioned in the last podcast, I've been in Vegas. So, I spent the last week at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas.
Is Andrew Yang there?
Not as far as I know. Ivanka Trump was there.
Oh, what was she doing there?
I couldn't tell you. I missed what she was doing. All I heard was that she was there, and I was walking the other direction, and I was already late for something.
Fair enough.
So me and a bunch of my friends from IEEE, the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineering, we all went to CES, which is the big tech conference of the year where pretty much all the companies that matter except for Apple show up to show what they've been doing. Apple does their own thing in San Jose, which is Apple, whatever.
Yeah, Apple is pretty garbage.
They just like being exclusive. It's part of their whole business image.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea. But they're gonna die off anyway because Steve Jobs can't save their ass.
The company's still growing. I don't know what you're on about. Apple's doing fine.
We'll see.
Simon's gonna destroy Apple personally.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip their freaking HQ apart brick by brick.
Go get him, Simon.
So, the exhibitors are all open on the 7th of January. There'd been 2 previous days that were media only. So the 7th was the first day that it was like open to not the public because it is a private like event. You do have to pay to get in, but it was open to the whole of the event. So me and our friends, we leave from our school in Pomona at 3 in the morning on the 7th, and we get to Vegas at 7:30 in the morning. The conference begins at 9 and it lasts until 6 p.m. So
It's a rough day.
it was a long day. So we get our badges, we go inside. I have my shoulder bag that I always carry with me, and it's really convenient because a lot of stalls give out free stuff, and every stall gives out like pamphlets about what they do and business cards, which I care about a lot because I'm unemployed and looking for a job. So the issue was every single entrance, except for the one we used most often, oddly enough, I'll get into that later, had a guard that checked bags. So every time we had to go like out of the convention center and back into the convention center, I'd have to then like give him my bag for him to search it, which was annoying, but it gets more and more lax the longer the conference goes. So the first day, the thing we spent the most time doing was waiting at Google's booth. Booth is a bit of an understatement because they poured 7 tons of concrete and built an entire house. So Google does big things every year, and everyone was excited for what Google was doing because last year they built a roller coaster in the parking lot and gave everyone who rode it a free Google Home, which is Google's response to the Amazon.
Alexa. Yeah, Google has been in a habit lately of just like playing catch up really hard with everyone else.
Yeah, so Google bought Nest, which was the voice controlled thermostat, if you ever heard about one of those. So they've renamed all of the Google Home stuff Google Nest, and they've been basically updating that to compete with Amazon. Apple's doing it too a little bit, but they're not as integrated as Google and Amazon are because of Apple.
Yeah.
So everyone wanted to see what Google was doing. So the line was incredibly long, and the line was moving incredibly slowly. I figured out why later. It was because they were doing like more personal tours. So it was near about 3 hours waiting in line. And the person in front of us, he worked with the company that built the roller coaster last year, and he was certain that Google was going to be giving out like their new Google Nest at the very end of it because they gave away the Google Homes last year and those are kind of obsolete. So we stood in line for 3 hours. Eventually we go in, and it's a walkthrough experience showing what the Google Assistant can do. So there is a narrator who's telling like a story about why we're using all of these different Google appliances, and then there is the Google Assistant who's actually doing things. At first I thought these were both just scripted, or I thought the narrator was scripted and I thought the Google Assistant was just being itself. But then the narrator calls out, "Hey, you in the red hat." And you guys know the hat I always wear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wearing, I'll probably put a picture of it in the show notes. It is just a red Boy Scout hat that I wear near constantly. And so that proved 100% the narrator was an actual person. That's why the line took so long, was because there was a like actual person narrating every single walkthrough, and it's only 6 people per walkthrough. And then Google Assistant just does its thing. It's integrated with mirrors and fridges and food processors and pretty much everything under the sun. And from what I could tell, they've increased the range of Google Assistant and they've made it so that it understands you better. That's as much as I could glean in our little experience. So, you know, I'm not big into smart home appliances because I still have an inbuilt fear of listening devices. But like the more it gets integrated with everything in your house, the more I could see justifying it because it could just do everything from like controlling every like appliance in your kitchen to the lights in your entire house to your heating to your just everything. Then at the very end of the experience, the guy with us who was like convinced that they were giving out Google Homes was incredibly disappointed as all we got was a slice of cake.
I'd be disappointed too.
Yeah. So Google did have a big giveaway, but it was not part of their main tech demo. It was just a big gumball machine next to the convention center where you could stand in an equally long line to
Get gum.
just get a random prize.
That's awful.
So the friends I was with were more there for the free stuff than I was, and so did spend several hours one of the days in line to get a Google beanie. So, what can you do? Let's see. So the rest of the first day was just spent just looking around. So the scale of this exposition. So there is the Las Vegas Convention Center, which it's split into 3 sections. All 3 sections have 2 floors. It was entirely filled floor to ceiling, all floors, with companies exhibiting things. Then, if you go north to the Venetian Hotel, half of the Venetian ballrooms are full of companies. One of the Venetian towers is full of companies, which is more of meeting rooms than it is exposition rooms. Then, connected to the Venetian is the Sands Expo, which is another 2-floor, 6-wing convention center. That's also filled floor to ceiling with tech companies. And then if you go to the Aria Hotel, there is another like set of ballrooms set aside. And if you go to the Westgate Hotel, one of the penthouse floors is full of meeting rooms for companies. Basically the entirety of Vegas is dedicated to this conference for this week.
It's like Comic-Con but for Vegas.
Yeah, it's it's similar scale.
I heard you say the Sands Convention Center? Was
The
Sands
Sands Expo.
Sands Expo, excuse me. Was Sans Undertale there? And did he like have an exposition about being Sans Undertale?
No, Sands, Sands, like beach sand.
Ah,
Sans Undertale was not there.
glad I didn't go.
He was definitely at Comic-Con though, if you.
That is true.
So the convention lasted for 4 days for attendees. It lasted Tuesday through Friday. We did not attend on Friday because a lot of the companies had packed up by Thursday, and we had to check out of our hotel room at 11 a.m. on Friday. So instead of going for the convention, because the convention ended early on Friday as well, because that was just like the final day, the pack-up day. We just skipped it, so we spent 3 days at CES. The first day, most of it was spent in the Google line, sadly, and the rest of it was spent walking around the convention center, just getting like a lay of the land. Pretty much the only thing of note on day 1 was also we went to see Jackery, who make like portable generators, and they were handing out, if you posted about them on social media, you would get a little backpack and then one of their external batteries, which so the first thing I posted on Facebook in close to 8 years now was an ad, and it got me this free power bank, which I like very much. I'll post a picture of it.
Suppose it was worth shilling.
I mean, I think it definitely was, because having this external battery was really helpful the rest of CES walking around.
That's not useful.
Yeah, especially because my phone's old, the battery's not as good as it used to be, so I definitely do need like a charge halfway through the day. So that was very useful to have. And then we visited Samsung. So Samsung's making a laptop. It's their first laptop.
Sorry to hear that.
You're sorry to hear that Samsung's making a laptop?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sam, come on. It's not your field. That's That's Grant's realm.
Yeah, Sam is making a laptop. So it's made completely out of like phone parts. So it's incredibly thin, it's incredibly light. It has only one USB-C port and then like one micro USB port.
It's pretty cringe.
I mean, if you're like
It's like a glorified Chromebook then.
yeah, pretty much. But it had like its specs were closer on par with a real laptop. Like its specs are much closer to a MacBook than a Chromebook. Like it was much more of a real laptop than a Chromebook is. But it was also just incredibly small, incredibly light, and it ran incredibly well. So we were allowed to just, like spend a few minutes playing around with it, seeing like what it could do. I'm not gonna get one because I need a lot of USB-A ports because just because of what I do. So I definitely couldn't justify getting that sort of thing. It just wouldn't work for what I do.
Is it like cheaper than a Chromebook or is it more expensive?
It's $800.
Oh, so it's not even worth it.
Well, if
If you're like incredibly rich and you don't want like a MacBook, it costs about the same as a MacBook actually.
what are you on about? MacBooks are like 2,000. It's significantly cheaper than a MacBook. It's significantly cheaper than an iPhone.
It depends on the one you're getting.
If you're getting the new one, focus on the new one.
Okay, fair enough. It is 2 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's significantly cheaper than the MacBook, significantly cheaper than the iPhone. So, I mean, for what it is, it's an incredibly good deal. It's just, I need, I guess, antiquated technology is not the correct word, but I do need odd things that most modern laptops don't come with. Most modern laptops don't come with multiple USB-A ports anymore, but I sort of require them. And so then, so we got to play around with the new Samsung laptops, and we gave them back, and then they gave us like a quiz. If we got the quiz right, we would get a pen and a notebook. If we got the question wrong, we could just pick one of the two. My question was, is the Galaxy Book S Samsung's first laptop? Now, I know now that it is, but because it had the word S in its name, I assumed it wasn't. So I said no, I got it wrong, and I only got the notebook instead of the notebook and the pen.
It's unfortunate.
It was fine. I like the notebook. It's it's one of the nice moleskin notebooks that I carry around constantly. So it's one more of those I don't have to buy. One thing I did for most of the convention was just walk around, talk to people, like shake hands, trade business cards, that sort of thing. Because it's like a networking event. So I'm looking for a job more than anything else because I am poor and in college. Day 2. So we went back to the Airbnb. Yeah, it was an Airbnb, not a hotel, because prices, it was not like that much cheaper, but slightly cheaper, just to stay in an Airbnb. So we went back to the Airbnb at like 4 p.m. So we left a little bit before the convention center, before the expo closed for the day, just to avoid the big rush of people at the very end. So we just unpacked our stuff and then like just sort of crashed there for a little while. And then for dinner that Tuesday night, we went to Hell's Kitchen, the Gordon Ramsay restaurant.
Out of 5 donkeys, how good was it?
Is a donkey good or bad? I can't tell.
5 being good, 1 being bad.
5 being good, it was definitely a 5 out of 5. It was easily like some of the best food I've ever eaten.
Well done, Gordon.
Yeah, it's difficult to explain just because I don't know how to describe taste that well. But like I just got like their salmon and then like a side of mac and cheese, and it was just like heavenly. It was just incredible. Like I've got no idea how to describe it. It was just like the best food we ever had. So like 2 of the 4 of us, like the other 2 get like steak, and then me and the other guy get salmon, and it's just incredible. And then like at the end of the meal, we get like the dessert menu, and we're all just stuffed to the brim because we like ate all of it, so it was just fantastic. And we get like one toffee pudding for like the 4 of us, because like toffee pudding was like a Gordon Ramsay's like signature dish. Like that's the dish that like made him big. And so like we all had like one bite full of that because we just got one for the 4 of us, and it was just godlike. It was just incredible. Like our only regret was eating it the first night because all the other food we ate in Vegas was like so subpar compared to that experience.
Well, sometimes it'd be like that.
No, that was fantastic. Let's see. So the next day, so on Wednesday we get up pretty early because we had to get to the convention center by 9, and then We heard a rumor that Oral-B was giving out their new toothbrush at the Sands Expo. So, like in the morning, we took the monorail to the Venetian to go see if that was true. It wasn't. Their toothbrush is not coming out until August, but they were letting people try it out. So, we did that, and that was easily like the cleanest my teeth have felt in ages. Was using that new Oral-B toothbrush. So, like, it's coming out in August, but I'm almost like gonna buy like the previous model like right now just because of how well it cleaned. So I left my normal electric toothbrush at my apartment in college, and I've been using a manual one for the past 2 weeks. And like the difference in how clean I felt like after using that toothbrush and using a normal toothbrush was like an order of magnitude. Like it felt just so much better after using that electric one. Do either of you guys use an electric toothbrush, or you just use manual ones?
I use an electric one. I'd say it makes me feel adequately clean. Probably could be cleaner, honestly.
Yeah, it always could be cleaner, but I mean,
I could always take better care of my teeth.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
Honestly, it can only go up from here.
oh, that's not a good thing to say, Sam.
I mean, I do brush, but that's it.
You don't even
It's
floss.
literally
Yeah.
it. Nope.
Yeah, we are no floss gang.
No, gross. Don't. I have the I don't know what they're called. It's like it's a tiny bit of floss, and then it's got like a hook on it.
Oh yeah, I have those too. I just always forget to do
Yeah.
it because video games.
I find that. Wait. Too busy playing video games to brush my teeth.
The gamer grind never stops.
I gotta grind out my wife who's in this gacha game, guys.
No, I've got those things. So flossing is super easy because I can just pull one of those out of like the bag and just use it and throw it away. But I don't know. I just don't feel nearly as clean when I use a manual toothbrush, and like using the electric one, it was definitely like a noticeable difference of how clean I felt. So honestly, I'm probably gonna get one soon just because it was great. The problem is their last toothbrush was $200, so this one's probably gonna be about the same, but be worth it for clean teeth.
Anything for the aesthetic.
White teeth are more than aesthetic. It's good health.
Yeah, that is also true.
See, so we went to Sands Expo for that one thing, and then immediately went back to the convention center, and then pretty much spent the rest of that day wandering around. I saw Michael Phelps. He was doing a talk for Panasonic. I didn't stay long enough to find out why he was there, but he just seemed to be having a good time.
Doesn't Panasonic make cameras?
They make TVs.
That's it.
Yeah, again, I didn't stay long enough to find out why he was actually there, but he was like advertising their TVs, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you know.
But you know, when you're famous, you just do whatever. The Olympics aren't happening for another couple of years, so
You shell shake like your $500,000 check and go home.
yeah, exactly. What else is an Olympian gonna do when there's not an Olympics on?
That's true. And I don't think he's gonna go to any more.
I think isn't he still good? Isn't he still like one of the top swimmers?
I think he did. No, that was the snowboarder who like kind of ate shit last time. I don't know how Phelps is doing. I'm pretty sure he's doing well, but I think he's gotten a bit old now. He's been in a lot of Olympics.
I mean, you say a bit old. He's probably just in his 30s. That's probably old for the
Yeah,
Olympics.
that's old for the Olympics. Like you're done for when you're in your 30s.
And then LG was showing off their robot called Chloe. That's an interesting development in robotics. So they've got a series of robots that are meant to basically replace servers at restaurants. So have you been to like an Applebee's where it has the little the little tablet where you can like play games for like $100, and you can also like pay your bill?
Yeah, but I was in a Red Robin.
I mean, I just mean a generic American restaurant.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be Applebee's. That wasn't the requirement of
The
that
answer
sentence.
nonetheless is yes. I have seen those, and I thought it was weird.
So, yeah, it's weird and it doesn't do much. So LG has a version of that where it can take your order, it can call the serving robot to like fill water or like collect plates, and it can do various other things by like knowing by like you giving it commands. And then LG had a serving robot that had several trays, like in a cylindrical container that could close. It's like almost like one of the vending machines where it can like with this like the circular screen that you can pull back to like retrieve food, but that like rolled around and delivered the food. Then they had like robots that could cut food and like pour water and like make pasta, like robot arms that could do like simple culinary tasks. So they had like a big showcase of that, showing that off, and it all looked really cool. The thing that really annoyed me though was at the end of like the demonstration, like the actors who were being like customers were like, okay, like, I'm gonna rate 5 stars, and I'm gonna give you a big tip. And my immediate thought was, if we're replacing all like waitresses and servers with robots, there's no way in hell I'm ever giving them a
You're
tip.
like, hot, no.
Yeah, you don't need to pay a robot to do something.
Exactly. That's the one line from that whole like tech demo that really stuck with me. It's like, why on earth?
But I give
are
a
you
tip to
giving
a robot.
tip? Yeah, because it's going straight into like the
Offers of the
restaurant's
manager or
pocket.
the bigger shadowy corporation that runs that restaurant.
Exactly. So that, I don't know. All the robotic stuff looks really cool. Like,
I think it's scary though, because that's like a really like common job for so many people that is about to just
Yeah.
get freaking obliterated.
sure is. Yeah. Get skilled. Don't be a worthless server. Like, have a real marketable skill. Yeah, a lot of easy jobs are going to be removed from the economy very soon. I'm trying to think which company it was. It was a company from Shenzhen. They were showing off their completely autonomous trucks. So, like, truck driving in the next couple of years is going to be completely automated. Like, that's not going to be a job in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's the most common job in several states.
Transportation is a fifth of the jobs. So you're right that like truck driving is a big part of the economy. There are a lot of people who are truck drivers. And then speaking of transportation, Uber has shown off their new helicopter.
I'm sorry, helicopter?
Yes. So
All right, boys, we're taking a helicopter.
Yeah, I'm gonna call the freaking Uber helicopter to pick me up to take me like 3 blocks down to a McDonald's.
I'm not joking. So they call it a flying car, but it is just a helicopter.
I need a picture of this immediately. What the fuck is this?
It's shaped like a drone, so it's got 4 propellers. Like it's shaped like how a drone is shaped, but it is a flying car.
What the fuck is this? What the
You
fuck
Googled
is
it?
that?
I'm definitely gonna put some links in the show notes. It's hilarious. I forgot the exact name. I think they called it the flying taxi, I believe.
Holy shit. This looks disgusting.
They're partnering with Hyundai.
Man, there's no aesthetic with that.
What are you talking about? This has the future aesthetic.
Yeah, it's not that good of an aesthetic. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
But it's the future.
Like this has the same aesthetic as Tesla's Cybertruck,
Yeah.
where this is just
No,
like
this has a better aesthetic than the Cybertruck. Come on.
I think they both have they both come from like the same crop though of like this is what people in the past thought like things in the future would look like. So like, this is what like people in the 70s would think like flying cars look like. This reminds me of the Jetsons. That's what this really reminds me of. This looks like the flying car from the Jetsons, but with propellers instead of magic.
It would have to look a lot more 1950s if you're going with the Jetsons.
I'm saying this has like that kind of aesthetic, and like the Tesla Cybertruck has that kind of
Sort of
aesthetic.
like the Disneyland propaganda posters of like for like Tomorrowland and like everyone's like in people movers and shit, like that sort of thing.
Exactly. It's that kind of feeling. Like with this sort of thing, you never have any idea if it's ever going to take off.
Yeah. I'm definitely probably not going to get into one of those. That definitely seems like a death trap.
No, these are definitely interesting.
Yeah, this is not a car in any sense of the word. This is a helicopter.
Uber's calling this like a flying taxi, so who knows how they're doing with the FAA? Like,
Yeah, the FAA will fucking obliterate them for this.
yeah, good lord. So the big things this year at CES, there were like 3 big things. The first one was 5G. The second one is AI, and the third one is drones. And there's a big thing. There's like one drone company I talked to where they said it's just small enough that the FAA doesn't consider it like a flying vehicle.
We got him.
Can it carry a person?
It was no it, the drone they were talking about. It was just like it was small. It had a camera. It was meant to like just take short bursts of
Oh, you
photos.
mean like a regular drone?
Yeah, it wasn't this. The FAA considers very small things flying vehicles. Like a normal drone is considered a flying vehicle, but there's like companies are being companies like this is just small enough the FAA doesn't consider it a flying vehicle, so you don't need to like contact the airport if you're going to be flying it
It's
near there.
peak American capitalism.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's how you know a car. It's how you know capitalism works is when like companies are fighting for every millimeter of space. It's just it works
Well, this is like the epitome of market capitalism.
exactly. Say drones are a big thing. I'm not like that interested in drones. I think they're cool toys.
I'm not sold on them either as like a practical application.
Yeah, like their practical application is for filming things, and I can definitely understand like filming things
Yeah, like a wide shot.
exactly. But I mean, I couldn't justify buying like a massive drone.
Or like having a drone drive me somewhere.
I mean, I could see that. That's a different purpose. Like having a drone drive you somewhere is something completely different.
Yeah, I don't really like trust that though.
Have you read Random Monroe's book How To?
No.
It's there's one chapter of the book where it's how to change a light bulb, and it's could you stand on two drones while changing the light bulb if you could balance well enough.
What did he say about that? Is it like walking on moon shoes or something?
It's it's pretty much what he says. It just technically it would work, but it would require a lot of
Coordination from both the drones and yourself.
Yeah,
Way
exactly.
too much effort to change a light bulb.
Yeah. So the other big thing with drones is transportation, like transporting things such as Amazon packages, which is Amazon's big use for drones. And yeah, that's their thing, where you can have drones deliver your package for you if you live close enough to a distribution center.
Trying to figure out like what in the hell would I use this helicopter for if I was taking an Uber as opposed to a car? And I think the only like reason I think I would use this is if I were in like LA and I wanted to go like from Pasadena to like Anaheim or something. Like something like pretty far in LA. It's like the
Well, I mean, there are areas like not in LA, but there are areas in New York where you can take a helicopter to the airport if you're in an odd part of New York and it's faster to drive. It's faster to take a helicopter than it is to drive. This could easily be that sort of thing where instead of taking like an on-street taxi or getting in an Uber, you can take a flying car just over the traffic. So like if it's rush hour and you're trying to get like from one side of Pasadena to the other side of Pasadena, like a flying car would be significantly better than sitting in like multiple hours worth of traffic on the 210.
Mhm.
So this definitely has purposes.
This is definitely the capitalist solution to that problem.
I mean, this is just like if you're trying to avoid traffic, you've got like you can either go over it, under it, or through it. Like those are the three options. Going through it takes time. Going under it requires Tesla's boring machine, but going over it just requires Uber. So,
And Uber's on your phone.
and then the other big thing I did on the second day was I went to a talk about the race for leadership in artificial intelligence. It was I'm trying to think who was on the panel. It was the U.S. The head of the White House Department of Technology. It was the chief something at Accenture, the head of the Internet Association, a member of the Italian Parliament, and then there was one other person who I'm forgetting.
I was an Italian parliament member there.
He's part of the Italian like technology committee in the parliament, and he was also part of some government like program for technology, but he was removed because of an election. And parliament systems like change every government job whenever like there's an election. I don't really get it
Yeah, I mean our government works like that too for the most part. Except for like really deep
for the
seated
most part. But
positions.
he's no longer like the head of a technology department. He's now just a member of parliament on a couple committees. But he was talking about like how Europe is different than America. So the big gist of the talk was how can America like lead in AI development when we have these silly things such as civil rights and anti-discrimination laws, while our main competitor China does not have these things.
And they can just like bulldoze entire like provinces to do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. So how can we be faster than the Chinese when we have these roadblocks to deal with? was the big gist of the talk. And how are we helping our allies keep up? Because it's like 90% of companies in Italy are small companies under 200 employees.
It's like mom and pop, like restaurants and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And the member of parliament was like, he was talking about how it's less about like developing AI there, it's implementing it and getting involved with the community. So,
Well, Italy has always been like behind when it comes to those sorts of things. I mean, that's how they got steamrolled in both world wars. They were just like, we're not industrialized enough to like handle the level of warfare that was going to happen to them.
Simon's anti-Italianness
He's just
aside,
calling them
Oh,
out.
yeah, I'm calling them out. I'm telling them that like, listen, if you're gonna fight total war against like France, you're gonna need to be a lot more industrialized than Italy.
I did take more detailed notes about the talk, but I feel it would bore anyone listening if I went through it that way, so I'm just not. The notes are basically for me anyway. And then the only other thing that really matters is I went to a couple booths like talking about getting more equipment for this podcast. So I went to Audio Technica, who make the headphones that I'm wearing right now, and I was asking them like what headphones are best for editing audio, and they recommended the M30X or the M70X because those are specifically meant for dealing with dialogue. And then I went to Blue and went to Samson to look at microphones to like see about getting a new microphone. The problem with these things is they're always expensive. So basically all I did for the second day was just go around and then go to the talk. And then so like that night, I don't know why I let my friends convince me to do this, but we went to the most expensive buffet in Vegas because it was supposed to be the best buffet.
Sounds like a horrible mistake.
So it was $55 per person.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was expensive. So I have a problem with buffets. It's the jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing, where, like, yeah, all the food was, like, good. It was, like, okay. None of it, like, blew me out of the water.
It wasn't Gordon Ramsay back there.
Yeah, it was not. So, like eating it after eating Gordon Ramsay was definitely, like, the mistake. Because, like, everything we ate, we were just like, yeah, it's not better than Gordon Ramsay, and it's about the same price. But no, the variety was incredible. They had like a whole seafood section and a Mexican section, Italian section, like Japanese section, just every kind of food under the sun, and it was all good. Like none of it was bad, but it wasn't better than like any restaurant that like does one thing really well.
Yeah, not any better than like an actual ethnic restaurant.
Exactly. Like if I wanted Italian food, I should have gone to an Italian restaurant, not to a buffet, and walked to the Italian section. It's that sort of thing. But I mean, the food was good, but it just wasn't worth it in my opinion. And then so for the third day, I spent most of it outside of the convention center in the other areas of the conference. So we spent most of the day at the Sands Expo, which the vast majority of it was smart home and accessibility. So it's like just everything to make your life easier. So there's a bunch of companies that are making like smart home equipment, like mirrors you can talk to control like how hot the shower is, or like just anything to integrate with like voice assistant technology to like control things in your house. And that was like the vast majority of that area. There was a whole 3D printing section, and then I got to play around with like a 3D printing pen. That was kind of fun.
3D printing gun.
No, they didn't have that. Some people 3D printed an entire motorcycle. So it was just like a whole lot of smart home. And then there's a whole section about digital money, which is every company that's trying to start a cryptocurrency is basically just starting their pitch with, we are not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is not a currency. It is a stock. So the big thing for a currency is stability. So every cryptocurrency right now is basically just saying, hey, so this whole section on digital money, basically just them saying, we're not Bitcoin, we're stable, we're meant to be used as a currency.
Or an actual fiat currency.
Yeah, we're not a volatile stock market. That's not it. And then there's a bunch of companies that are attempting to use the blockchain technology that Bitcoin uses, but for non-currency related things, which is mostly data recording and privacy, which most of the time just seems like a waste of resources. Like recording how much like if you have like a warehouse, recording how many of like each product is in your warehouse, using blockchain to do that always feels like a bit much. It's like using like a sledgehammer to like take out a screw, but it's something interesting that's going on. Eventually someone's gonna find like a use for blockchain that's like undeniably like the best use for it, and then it's gonna be the big thing everyone needs. For the moment it just feels like auxiliary. And then Amazon had a big section in one of the ballrooms in the Venetian Hotel. And my god, Amazon has smart everything.
I mean, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, Thoreau would fucking have a heart attack and die if he saw this shit.
Do you want a smart fridge? Amazon can give you that. Do you want a smart food processor? Do you want a smart car? Do you want a smart rubber ball for your kids to play with? Amazon can give you that. Do you want a smart robot that'll give treats to your dog? Amazon can give you that. Like anything under the sun, Amazon has put a little speaker and microphone into and has integrated it in their whole ecosystem.
Spooky.
It is, and the big issue I have with it is that to get the most use out of it, you pretty much have to go like head over heels into their ecosystem, because Amazon Alexa is not compatible with Siri, and it's not compatible with Google Assistant. It's not compatible with any other companies trying to do this stuff. So if you want to like get the most out of it, if you want to be able to like wake up in the morning and have breakfast be made before you get out of bed, you pretty much have to be fully like into Amazon's ecosystem, which is scary at the best of times because you're putting a lot into a single point of failure.
It's definitely like, remember the movie Smart Home, the direct-to-TV Disney movie?
I don't remember that at all. I know there was a Scooby-Doo episode set in a robotic house.
There's also a Mickey Mouse short that's like that.
There was a very common idea many years ago.
Yeah, like it seems cool, but then they always like show like this is actually kind of bad, and then now we're at the point where we're looking at it,
the
and
house turns against
yeah,
them. Like the whole plot of all those things is the house just turns against you.
yeah, because people are inherently just awful.
Yeah, but that's not realistic. It's not the house turning against you. It's the company that owns all of these appliances
Turning against you for whatever reason.
Yeah. Or if you're in China, the company is just told by the government to surveil you.
So it's just the Chinese government just messing with you.
Yeah. Or if there's like a big data breach and suddenly all your toaster is now a Chinese spy.
Yeah,
something like that.
Your save game on Skyrim on your toaster is now owned by the Chinese government.
Some hacker just logs into your fridge to play Doom or something like that.
Yeah.
That oven is a spy.
The big problem is the single point of failure that turning your house into a smart house would become. But there are applications to it, and there is a massive benefit in being able to control everything in your house via your voice from anywhere. That is definitely a massive convenience.
But also, since we're the children of the age of post Edward Snowden America, like the paranoia is just too real against that kind of shit because you know they're listening to you.
Exactly, especially with like Facebook Analytica or Cambridge Analytica, when that came out a few months ago. That was just a big moment of everyone realizing, oh,
Edward Snowden is right again.
They are stealing our data. So yeah, the biggest issue technologically is the lack of cross compatibility between the different speech recognizing AI. The biggest issue for most of us is the security issue of having your entire house listening to you constantly.
Always watching.
And then, so on the lower floor of the Sands Expo was basically all of the universities. Every university had a couple of booths dedicated to like what they were working on. And then a couple other smaller entities had these little booths. So I talked to this Norwegian Kickstarter where they're doing it's like an external GPU like for your laptop, but it basically acts as a computer tower for your laptop. So you can actually like you can have a laptop to like carry around with you to work, but it can also like play uh, graphics heavy video games if you just plug it into this tower. That seemed really
I
interesting.
would buy that.
Exactly, like, as would I, because I like having a laptop to take around with me. But I do enjoy a video game every now and then, and that would be more useful than building my own desktop computer for video games.
And probably cheaper.
Yeah, well, depends how low specs
Debatable.
you want to go in building it.
Debatably cheaper.
But they're on Kickstarter right now, so I can send you the info if I ever actually find my documents, because I don't know where I put all of it. It's around here somewhere.
It's in one of your mini planners.
Yeah, right now I've got a stack of business cards next to me, and I just have to put all the information into my phone so I can get rid of all this paper in front of me. The eternal struggle.
It never ends.
So we were walking around there, just checking things out, and then one of the guys at the stalls, I had a bit of a conversation with. He was again, I can't remember the company. I have his business card next to me, but I don't want to begin rustling papers next to the microphone. He recommended we go check out Griffin. They're not a circuit board. What's the word? Like a circuit component making company. And they didn't have a booth, but they did have like a meeting room, like on one of the penthouse floors of the Westgate Hotel. So me and our friend John like decided to go there just to like see if we could get in. Because like we were like recommended to go, and I guess the guy didn't know that it was just a meeting room, not an exhibition room. But we did go to the Westgate, and we went to the 29th floor, but the door wasn't closed, but it was like just barely open. We could hear people talking, so it was clearly like a meeting room, not an exhibition room. So we just walked away. I'll see if I can get John to send me the video from the Westgate Hotel, because so it was the 29th floor out of 30, and there were no lights on. Like the entire floor was just dark. Like it was spooky.
The back rooms.
Yeah. No, it wasn't even the back rooms. This was like the second highest floor. Like this is one of like the penthouse floors. There was just no lights on in the hallway for some odd reason.
It has like the back rooms, like five of just like, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, it felt really alienating. So we did not go see Griffin. And then, see, that was pretty much the end of the day. We spent the rest of the day like just walking around the convention center, checking out booths, talking to people, the usual thing. And then that night, we all decided that we didn't want to spend any more money, and we just went to Denny's. It was like a sliding scale, like linearly. It was like Gordon Ramsay, buffet, Denny's. Then we just went back home.
Good old Denny's.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's food. What can you do?
The 1 a.m. Danny's experience is something else.
So yeah, that was Thursday night. So then Friday morning, the convention opens at 9, but we have to check out at 11. So we have like, we could go to the convention for 1 hour, but like, I don't know, we didn't think it'd be worth it. So we just packed up our stuff and then drove home.
Right, you guys are 21, so there really isn't much to do in Vegas for you guys.
Yeah, no, but we also wouldn't gamble.
It's also true. It's not like you have the budget for that.
Exactly. We don't have the
But
money.
like you could like go to a bar and like experience Vegas.
Like, that's true. Like, we always talked about walking the strip at night, but we were always just way too tired because we'd spend all day walking around, like, on our feet. We just never had the energy at night to, like even walk the strip on, like, at Vegas. So there's no way we'd have the energy to, like, go to a bar or things. Like, if we were gonna, like maybe in the future, like, on a vacation, we'd go to Vegas and, like, actually walk the strip and go to a bar. But this event was just draining because of just how much time we spent on our feet walking
Should do
around.
that in the summer.
That would be so hot, though.
That's also true, but I'm just thinking when you turn 21. Maybe next fall or winter. With this coming.
So then Friday we drove back home, and then I got back on Saturday. That's pretty much the whole story. Only thing I forgot to mention, from our Airbnb, we were able to walk to the back entrance of the convention center, and there was zero security on that side for some reason. So I never had to get my bag checked walking in the back entrance, but I always had to get my bag checked walking in the front entrance. So I don't get it, but by the last day, like, they weren't even looking at my bag. They were just like patting it and ushering me along. So
Does it feel like a gun through this? Nope. Okay.
after the first couple days, they assume everyone's chill. They just let everyone through. If someone was going to cause a big scene, they would have done it on the first day. They wouldn't have waited till the end of the week. And that's my whole CES story.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I'm most certainly going to go back next year if our club gets the free tickets again. I think we've pretty much run out of steam. Simon, do you want to give us an ending?
I've had some good ones lined up, but this has got me all turned around.
Did you have like a Google document of ending lines?
You know
for
what?
the
I will make
podcast?
one. Thank you for giving me that idea.
Just have it like going throughout your day. You think of something, quickly pull out your phone, jot it down.
Yeah, that's usually how I come up with that sort of thing.